Good evening, folks, and welcome to your slightly earlier Thursday pod here on Four Lads Have a Dream. Geez, I'm forgetting the name of the show. I'm forgetting the name of the network we're on, Amrit. The Thursday thing's throwing me all off, but nonetheless, we are here. We are here to pod. We are here to talk about the start of the biggest game since the last one. You know, that no game is unimportant, especially for Rangers, but particularly in the context of where we've been, where we've come from, where we're going. It's going to be a big one. And I think for you in particular, it's going to be a good one, mate. So, looking forward to Falkirk this weekend.
I am, mate. Everyone knows I'm a Falkirk lad, a Falkirk bairn. So I may as well just get out of the way. Falkirk have always been close to my heart. They are a little bit like my second team because I grew up in Falkirk. It was the local team. My mum and I are actually season ticket holders at Falkirk. I'm obviously a season ticket holder at Rangers, but my mum loves football and she likes to go to the Falkirk games. So it used to work out, well, it still does work out quite well because traditionally Rangers would always be Thursday, Sunday when we were in the Europa League. Falkirk would play on a Saturday, so that was a nice chance for my mum and I to spend some time together and cheer on Falkirk. But obviously when it comes down to it, I'm a blue nose. I'm a Rangers fan. I love Rangers more than anything else in the world, as everybody knows. But I've got a soft spot for Falkirk. But on Sunday, absolutely not.
Only one team.
On Sunday, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I mean, it does put the context as Stevie wanted to get a ticket for the home game in a new light, because obviously he's going to try and nick the ticket off your mum to get it. So,
so what's happened basically is that we've got 3 season tickets, and so me and my mum, and then we always have one spare. Usually my little brother goes with us because he goes to the Rangers games with me as well. But he said, well, I won't get a ticket. I haven't got a ticket through the ballot for Falkirk. It's 750 allocation. What chance have we got? So my little brother said that he's not coming on Sunday because he said there's no way that he can sit in the Falkirk end and contain himself if decisions don't go our way, or if Falkirk score, or equally if Rangers score. But I'm far more composed than him, and I can. I'm a bit of a social chameleon, so I can sort of fit in and keep my emotions under check. But Stevie's going to come, so he's going to come and meet my wee mum for the first time, so that'll be interesting. He'll need to be on his best behaviour.
Definitely. I mean, Amrit, definitely the first kind of thought that came to my mind was, he will be understated, he'll be calm, won't get too passionate or emotional about it. For sure, definitely.
Yes. Well, we'll see what happens. They might take my season tickets off me after Sunday.
Look, if it means we win the league, it'll be all worth it, you know?
Absolutely.
So, we obviously, I don't want to duplicate too much of what Stevie, Chris, and Kenny went over last night, but we know what the fixtures are. We know exactly what we need to do. Equally unsurprisingly, Amrit, I think that the magic supercomputer, the absolutely, definitely random, completely fair and unbiased SPFL, probably didn't give either us or Hearts a particularly favourable run-in. Not that I trying to be as generous as I can be. I will say that the structure of the league does not allow for, a way to make this totally fair. Now, you could argue that maybe that means that we should change the structure of the league. Maybe the split doesn't work with this number of teams. Maybe the split should be earlier. But who could influence that? Oh, right, it's the same guys who did the fiction. Okay. So, regardless of that, we know what we need to do. We know what we need to do. 6 wins gets you the title, right? 6 cup finals left is the title of the show. But we need to, I think, get it started off on the right foot. And one of the things that Stevie did say last night was looking at this as like a collection of 2 games at a time. So you take the Falkirk game and then you take our first game after the split, Motherwell. Have those 2, get those in the bag. And then you've got the 2 big games, if you like, the Hearts and the Celtic game, which I think will take care of themselves. I know there's obviously going to be massive amounts of pressure. It's going to depend what happens before that. But then after that, if we can come through those 4 games, get 12 points out of them, I think that's enough to win you the league at that point. If it's those games that you pick up those 12 points in, if not, then it gets a little bit stickier afterwards. But for me, although we as fans we'll be looking forward. I don't think if you're this Rangers team, you can be looking any further ahead than this Sunday's game at 12 o'clock. So that's where it comes down to, Amrit. I think for the team, that's going to be the focus right now. It's just we play these guys, we get this over the line, and then hey, we've got a nice training camp that we need to go away for as well.
Yeah, mate, I think there's so much to unpack, and I think it's very easy as Rangers fans, because historically we've seen how this plays out, that we get pulled down into the spiral of conspiracies and, you know, the SPFL and the SFA are against us and all this kind of stuff. So adversity and challenges around these type of things is not new to Rangers. We've been enduring this for a long, long time. But I just want to park all of that because I think it's a distraction that we don't need. It doesn't change anything, Andrew. We can jump up and down and scream and complain and do all that. It doesn't change the fact that we have 6 games to play and they are all scheduled. They're all planned at certain times. You can argue about the timings. You can argue about Celtic playing before us in 2 of the games. You can argue about the fact that, you know, we've got 4 away games and they've got 2 and all the rest of it. Listen, I'm not interested. All I'm interested in is what we're doing and what, I suppose, the tasks that await us in the future. I think we've spoken about this to death, and I think for me, everyone keeps saying it's 6 cup finals, win 6, you win the league. I'm with you, Andrew. I think you win the first 4 and you win the league. I don't even think it's about 6. It's about 4 if we can get them. I think the shoulder games around the Hearts and the Celtic game, the shoulder games either side. So the Falkirk Motherwell at the front side and then your Hibs and your Falkirk game at the back side. Those shoulder games, if we can take care of them, Andrew, that's critical because I think all of them, we should be able to navigate them without too much difficulty. If we play to our potential, if we play as well as we know we can, if we're focused and driven, and we throw ourselves into these games, I think those 4 should, on paper, take care of themselves. And then you can afford to go to Tynecastle, you can afford to go to Celtic Park and get a point in both of them and up the road and you'll win the league. That's really where we are. I really hope that we win, well, we have an opportunity to win the league on the Wednesday night at home with 55,000 Bears. Okay, it's the middle of the week, it's a Wednesday night, nobody will be at their work on a Thursday. I wonder, can I phone in sick to my own business? How does that work? Where am I legally on that Thursday?
That's how that works, right? You just give yourself a day off, you know, it's fine.
Yeah. So, you know, I really think the shoulder games are critical, but I think as the games develop as well, or as each match day is completed, the landscape of the league is going to look very, very different week to week. You know, it just takes a drop point here or a loss or a victory for 1, 2 or 3 of them, whatever may happen. It's going to have huge implications on the trajectory of the remaining games, because then you know what you need in order to keep yourself in it or in order to maintain the gap that you've created over your rivals. So there's so many things to think about. We just need to focus on ourselves. You know, get our head in the game, concentrate on us. There's a lot of noise, a lot of distraction, which is actually, I suppose it's been manufactured that way. It's created that way. There's a narrative out there to try and unsettle Rangers. And we need to focus on ourselves. Listen, I believe we can win this league. I truly do. I think that given what we've gone through, if you look at even the last 12 months of what we've endured, it is a wonderful, fantastic story that could end with the most fulfilling ending ever. You know, we started off, the 49ers came in, last April, so almost a year ago. Yep. You know, then we had Thelwell, we had Patrick Stewart, we had all the signings over the summer. We thought some of these signings would be really good and all the rest of it. And then Russell Martin started and we couldn't win a game and we couldn't stop drawing games. We had all that hoo-ha. We had the stuff with the fans and him getting chased out of Falkirk and all the rest of it. And then Danny Rule came in and we thought he wasn't the man for the job either. And myself included, I thought he's 3rd choice. He didn't even make the cut originally. Now we're getting him. What's going on here? We should be moving mountains to get Gerrard and all the rest of it. That's what I was saying. And I've been proven wrong, which I'm happy to accept. Yeah. Then Danny Rule came in. We went on a great run in the league. He started to make us compact and hard to beat. That was the first thing he did. He made us hard to beat. And then we built on that. And then a lot of the players under his tenureship have started to develop and express themselves. Mm-hmm. Mikey Moore wasn't a player under Russell Martin. Mikey Moore is a player under Danny Rule. And you could say that for so many in this squad. Then we had the wonderful 4 players. Well, I would say 4 players. Well, we had 4 potentially really good players that came in January, in Robbins, Chukwueze, Nadiri, and Skov Olsen. Of those 4, I would say 3 have hit the ground running, and I'm happy with. And I think they've exceeded expectations, especially Robbins and Chukwueze for me. And Nadiri obviously is injured.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about that is I think the player who beforehand most people would have said would be the one who'd be guaranteed to come in and really impress.
Yeah,
is the one who's been the one who hasn't impressed us, which has been disappointing. So I take your point. I think it's going to be very interesting looking at how we set up for this game. Obviously, as Stevie touched on last night, we don't know right now what's happening with Nadiri, if he will be available or not. Equally with Rollins as well, we know that he will at least be out for this game. Obviously, we're going to get the press conferences tomorrow, and that should give us a bit more information. But at the moment, everything about Ryan Nadiri is still just rumor, just speculation. I'd love to either give you good or bad news, but it's just where we are. I think the cynical side of me thinks that because I've heard it in far too many places that he is going to be out for a long period of time, that is the case. But we don't know at this stage. Don't know for sure. So we shall see.
It's just speculation at this point, isn't it? And I think we'll find out more tomorrow at the press conference. I'm sure that'll be one of the first questions that Danny Rule is asked in that press conference is, what is the prognosis with Nadiri? Has he had his scans? How long is he likely to be out? And then probably they'll be asking him, what does he feel about the implications of not having Nadiri in the team? Because I'm a big Nadiri fan. I know he splits opinion a little bit. He's a striker and he doesn't score that many goals. We get that. He scored obviously last week, off Asgard's shot, wasn't it? And then he went and he got the tap in. But he's more than just that. He's so industrious and he puts a shift in, which I really like. He puts himself about. He works well in our system. I think he's an integral part of our system. Traditionally, he was playing a little bit deeper, and Danny Rule was allowing Chermiti to lead the line. But against who did we play at the weekend? What am I talking about? Who did we play at the weekend? Who did we play, Andrew?
Jeez, man.
Dundee United. What am I talking about? Aye. So, but against,
I was going to say Motherwell there as well. Yeah. Oh man.
But against,
can you tell it's getting to the end of a long week?
Oh mate, it's just So against Dundee United, he was asked to lead the line, wasn't he? He was there leading the line, which was unfamiliar for him, given the task that he'd been entrusted with up to that point. And he did really, really well leading the line. I thought he was really good. But missing him now is going to be a big miss, I think, if we do, because it gives us more options. We're looking at Miovski and Chermiti. There's been a lot of discussion about who you go with. I wouldn't go with both of them. I'd go with one or the other, if I'm honest. I think against Dundee United, we went back to the 4-2-3-1. I thought it worked well. Wasn't Nadiri leading the line? I suppose a lot of people would argue that maybe Chermiti on his own can't lead the line or doesn't lead the line that well on his own. So then is it Miovski that comes in? I think if you're going to play the 4-2-2, then they'll both be in the team, Miovski and Chermiti. Then you need to see how that relationship develops, because I don't think that the Chermiti-Miovski partnership is anywhere near as strong or as effective as the Chermiti-Nadiri one.
I think for me, where Nadiri has been playing isn't really a traditional striker's role, at least prior to the past weekend's game. He's playing as a shadow striker. He's playing off of your more traditional centre forward, number 9. Now, for me, of the 2 strikers who we know should be fit for the game, obviously the question mark over Nadiri, for me, Miovski is the one who more suits that traditional number 9 role. He's your one you want between the sticks, finishing goals. And Chermiti is the one who feels like he wants to roam around a lot more, who wants to drop off. So maybe you try them just with the traditional roles reversed almost, because Chermiti's always been the one who's playing as the main striker, and I don't really think that suits him too well. I think he would maybe work better as that shadow striker. Or you look at someone like fellow Asgard, which I know you'll be excited about, but he's a player who, again, like a number of players who at the start of the season, after the first 6 games you'd have written off and said go away for free. They are players who are coming into a bit of form at exactly the right time. So let's run through, I guess, what our expected lineup would be, and we'll go from the front to the back, if you like. We'll do it out of order, just for shits and giggles, you know. How for the front two then? Where are you? Where would you see that? Because for me, I'd be inclined to do Miovski and Chermiti, but swapping them around and making them play in kind of opposite roles almost.
Well, you can see the impact that Chermiti had when he came off the bench against Dundee United. I mean, Chermiti didn't play badly at all against Dundee United. Chermiti played well. Chermiti played well in the sense that he got himself into some wonderful positions. His running was good. His pressing was good. He was moving and he was putting himself into areas that could hurt Dundee United. And he moved himself into those areas. The problem was that he couldn't bloody finish. He should have had a 6.5-minute hat-trick, for God's sake. But that was the final piece of the jigsaw which was missing from that performance. So Chermiti is good in that sense. You know, he carries the ball really well. You don't get that from Miovski. Miovski's in the box, and I think if a chance falls to Miovski or Chermiti, I want it to fall to Miovski.
100%.
But so it depends how Danny Rule sees this. Does he go with the 2 on the plastic pitch? Does he go with just the 1 up front and have 1 off him? I really don't know how he's going to view this. I'm inclined to stick with the same system and go 4-2-3-1, and I would play Chermiti up front on his own, and if we're struggling, then maybe you bring on Miovski. I'm not convinced that Miovski can give us the same work rate in terms of pressing and breaking up the play that Chermiti can. That would be my take on it. But listen, people's opinions are exactly that. So other people prefer Miovski. I know that Stevie would prefer Miovski to start. He was saying this week, but for me, I'd go with Chermiti.
I think, for me, I think if you're going with 1, for me at least, it would be Miovski. But hey, that's what it's all about. It's all about opinions. And hey, in theory, might come back and be fit and finish every the last 6 games that we have the season. So you never know, right? Moving back from that, then. So say if we go with your 3, then who are those 3? Who's playing in behind them? So where'd you go?
I think for me, listen, Thelo Asgard, I was one of his biggest critics. I can remember when I came back from Ferencváros, and I think I got back that Friday afternoon, and I was podding that night, the day after the game, and I came back and described Thelo Asgard as an Alsatian running round in circles looking for somewhere to take a shite, because that's the type of player he was, and that's what I saw on that night. And I stand by that. But Thelo Asgard now is not the same. And I truly believe that Thelo Asgard, as a footballer, technically is the most gifted technical player in our squad. And I think there's very few things that people... Well, I would say there's very few people that can do what Thelo Asgard does with a ball. He just doesn't do it often enough. He doesn't do it in the right areas. He's coming too deep. I want him 10, 15, 20 yards up the pitch where he can hurt teams, because he's got such quick feet for a big guy. You know, he's a tall guy. I saw him in person for the first time at the press conference after the Dundee United game. And, you know, he's a tall, powerful guy. And, I wished him all the best as well. And I said to Thelo, look, keep it up. You're doing brilliant. And, he's a nice lad, a nice-natured lad. And I think he's a good professional. He just needs to do it more consistently for me. But I really think he'll come good, and I think he has. He had a hand in 3 goals on Saturday. For all the critics that we give him, it was his shot that Nadiri picked up the pieces from and got the tap in. Then Thelo Asgard was the one that chipped it into the box. I think it was Skov Olsen, and then it went to Sterling, and then he scored the other one when Gassama crossed it in for him. So Thelo Asgard is having an impact on this team. He's not only creating goals, he's scoring them as well. So I would play Thelo Asgard. I'm not sure. I mean, if you go the 4-2-2, 2-2-2, do you say, right, we'll put Chermiti or Miovski up front, and then do you play Asgard off him and play Asgard that little further up, and just make sure you tell him, listen, Thelo, you're not coming deep to get that ball to do your little Alsatian trick. That's where you need to be. You need to be in and around the 18-yard box, and you need to be feeding Miovski or feeding Chermiti. That's your job. So do you do that, or do you say, listen, Mikey Moore's a dangerous player in that area as well. That's where Mikey Moore does all his best work, is in the little pocket, in that hole, on the half turn, creating things. So he might say, listen, I'll play Mikey Moore off one of the strikers as well. It's hard to know. I think Raskin and Chukwani pick themselves. We know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then if he's playing 3 behind a striker, then you're Mikey Moore, you're Asgard. And then this is the whole debate again, isn't it? It's the Skov Olsen, it's the, I don't think he's going to bring either Bajrami or Ant-Man in from the cold to start on Sunday. I can't see it. I would quite like to see Ant-Man, if I'm honest, because I don't think Skov Olsen has done enough for me to warrant a start. It just hasn't. We can't just keep throwing him in, because we're getting to the stage now where it's like, well, Skov, it doesn't matter what you do, you're still going to start. Like, there's no consequences for playing poorly. And I don't think that's good for the mentality of the squad. I don't think it's good for the players that are training well and trying to put their hat in the ring and get an opportunity, but then it's not coming. I don't think that's good for morale in the team or connection between the players. So for me, do you throw someone like Ant-Man in as a wild card and say, listen, he played really well against Kilmarnock when we won 5-1. I remember I was in the gantry that day with Calvin and Stevie. That was the day my jacket burst open. And Ant-Man played really, really well that day. Then he got injured and he's been back for a few weeks now, but he hasn't had any game time. So do you say, listen, you play Asgard in the middle, you maybe play Mikey Moore on the left, and then you play Ant-Man potentially on the right? I don't think Gassama's an option for me to start. Gassama did wonderfully well against Dundee United. Gassama almost single-handedly changed that game on Sunday. He was running at them. He was causing all sorts of problems. They had no answers for what Jedi Gassama was doing. He was just picking up the ball, route one, go with it, run, force them into making a decision. And he was causing mayhem that day. So I'm just not sure he's the man to do it from the start, because when the games are tight and they're compact and there's not a lot of space, he goes missing. So I don't know, the comments, maybe some of the viewers would give us their opinion about who they would like in that 3, but I'd quite fancy Ant-Man. Just bring him in from the cold. I don't think Danny Rule will do that, but as a wild card, I'd say do it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, there are folks talking about Gassama, but there's also folks talking about Bayrami as well, who I think is the other one who, again, hasn't played a great deal of football, but hasn't really looked bad when he's come in either. And I think, for your point, Amrit, for me, I think it is more a reflection on Skov Olsen that I think he needs to come out of the team, rather than I really want to see Ant-Man or Bayrami come into the team, or even Gassama, right? Because for me, Skov Olsen feels like a man down right now. And I don't know if that's a confidence thing, or if it's because of the injuries that he sustained prior to coming to us, or if it's a case that he just hasn't played a lot of football this season and he's not been getting up to speed. For whatever the reason, we have 6 games left. And so unless he starts rediscovering that form really quickly, then these are going to be the last 6 opportunities that he has to play in a Rangers shirt and impress us. So I think he is in a similar category to me as Gassama right now, where I want to see him right now as an impact sub more than anything else. I think I completely agree with you that I think Jedi Gassama changed that game when he came on, but it's because he's having the opportunity to come on when the rest of the team on the pitch have had 60 minutes in the leg and they're all a bit leggier and they're all a bit tired. Then he's got the opportunity, when there's more space, to run at these guys and make things happen. Maybe that's what Skov Olsen needs to have as well. Have that opportunity to come on later on in the game when players are a bit more tired and have that, additional space. So for me, it's more a question of, I don't think Skov Olsen starts, and I think someone else should. Whether that's Bayrami or whether that's Ant-Man, I don't know. But I think one of those two should be the ones who are in contention to start in that position. Because I don't see it right now with Skov Olsen, which is really disappointing, because, as I said, the 4 players that we signed over the January window, he's the one who everyone I knew was like, I mean, I have no idea about this in theory guy, League One in Germany, who knows, right? This random left back from who knows where, how good can he be, right? Like the second coming of our famous left back, little Arthur. So it's it's a bizarre one. Chikwani came in from absolutely nowhere. No one had the first clue about him, and he's been, I think, for me, the most solid of those signings. So yeah, it's a really odd one, but for me, I think it is just, I don't think Scott Olsen can justify getting himself into that starting 11 right now, because there just hasn't been enough from him to warrant getting picked in that position. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. Defense. Obviously, last weekend, your big pick was Tavernier. Convinced he should start, and off the back of the game performance in the previous game, the free kick that he threw in, yeah, I mean, absolutely. But Tav featured for about 4 minutes in the game last weekend. Sterling was phenomenal for us. I think genuinely he's been on a tear of games, and that was one of his best games in a while. And also, I don't think it's a coincidence that this lines up with one of the longest sustained runs of fitness that Sterling has had as well. So yeah, for me right now, I think Dujon Sterling is our right back. I think Fernandez and Giga are centre back pairing there. And right now, as things stand, Megoma, I think, is your only option for left back. But hey, at least we had an alternative in the squad when one of our left backs inevitably got injured. So that's kind of where I'm at for that defence. Are you still on the Tav train, or are you happy to go with that back four?
Well, I think, to be honest, I think we're all in agreement. The one thing, forget the Tav thing just now, right? Let's talk about what we can all agree on. Everyone watching this will agree that Fernandez and Giga is the partnership that we all want to see in the middle of our defence for the remaining 6 games of the season. I don't think that's up for negotiation or debate. Mm-hmm. So that has to happen. And I think the John Souttar experiment that we tried, we're lucky that it didn't cost us what it did, because John is a no-nonsense defender, and that's great. And he's done his time for Rangers, and we're very, very grateful to him. But in this run-in, we need a good, solid partnership. We need some balance. And with John Souttar at the back, we had a lot of chaos. We had a lot of mayhem. It was very nervy at the back. It felt frantic at times. That it was just like, oh my God, hot potato, get the ball away. Oh, what do we do? And it was almost calamity defending sometimes, which just creates anxiety on the pitch with the players. Mm-hmm. But then it creates anxiety in the stands, because I was feeling it the first 20 minutes when I was sitting there. I was like, I don't feel comfortable with what's going on with this game just now, because it did feel really, really nervy and edgy. And that's not the way it should be. So Giga and Fernandez have proved to me over time that they are the partnership that we need. So we go with them. Megoma is the only option at left back. Now we move on to the right back. I stand by that. I said I wanted Tav to start at Dundee against Dundee United, because I felt Tav offers more going forward than Dujon Sterling. Dujon came on and played wonderfully well. For me, he was the best player on the park. I know Chukwani got the man of the match, but for me, I remember I was in the gantry with Stevie, and he said, "Who's your man of the match?" I said, "Big Douche, 100%." He was phenomenal. He's absolutely brilliant. He really, really was. And to be honest, I think, and I don't mind admitting this, I think if Tav's playing, I don't think that we get out of that game with the result we got, because Dujon was there sweeping up a lot of the errors and almost preempting some of the John Souttar calamity defending. He's there to protect him. So he did a great job. The question on Sunday is does Danny Rule... So, for instance, Dujon Sterling now is probably going through the longest period of not being injured for us for a while. And we have 6 games remaining. I think it's absolutely crucial that we keep Dujon Sterling fit for these remaining 6 games. Now, I know things can happen, but we've got to try and do what we can as a club to make sure that we wrap him in cotton wool, because we can't afford to lose him as far as I'm concerned. So does Danny Rule look at Sunday on the plastic pitch in Falkirk and say, this is risky, I'm not going to play him? Or does he say, listen, I can play him on Sunday, because then we've got a fortnight off, because remember, Falkirk are at Hampden against Dunfermline, and I'll be at that game. So I'll be at Hampden, Rangers will be in Spain or whatever it is they're going. Is it Spain? It's Spain, isn't it?
Yeah. Not Dubai for some reason. I can't think why.
So Danny Rule might say, listen, I can play at Falkirk, then he's got 2 weeks to recover going into the remaining 5 games of the split. He might look at it that way, or he might just want to keep him away from it completely, and he plays Tav. I think this really comes down to how Danny Rule calls it, because there's arguments for both. I would prefer to see Dujon Sterling, but if he doesn't play and it is Tav, we understand the reasons why. It's not because Danny Rowe prefers Tav at the moment. It's probably because he's thinking long-term that he wants to protect Dujon Sterling, which I think is a wise move on his part as well. So let's see. It's almost like a flip of the coin, isn't it? A little bit.
Yeah, and I mean,
draw.
yeah, I mean, well, Falkirk put in the comments about the plastic pitch at Falkirk as well, which I hadn't considered as a thing. And yeah, it's difficult to know because I completely take your point. The risk of injury, which Kelso has pointed out, yes, that is why Fernandez didn't start the game, because coming back from international duty, you're worried about picking up those muscle injuries. And look, Fernandez is a player who I think is going to be massively important for us for the remainder of the season here. So yeah, it's a difficult one. I think given you have that 2 weeks for recovery, I'm inclined to agree with you, Amrit. I think that's the way you go. Tav's there as an able deputy. I think right now, given his position, he's out of contract at the end of the season. I would like to see him leave as a league winner, a 2-time league winner. Obviously, should have picked up more trophies over the course of his career with us, but not like everything that's gone before doesn't matter right now. It comes down to what we can do in these next 6 games. And for me, I'd like us to push on and get that title. Not just for Tav, for me as well. Like, I'm selfish enough to say it. I want us to win the title. And I don't care who knows. Yeah, it is an interesting one. Like you say, I think it comes down to a flip of the coin almost. It's a difficult one. But hey, we're not ones who've been paid to make that decision. So, yeah. Paul's also asking what's happened to Aarons. Yeah, it's interesting that neither me or Amrit decided to really go for him as the other alternative. I cannot think why, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously there. He's a squad player, but I don't think he's an option at the moment for us unless there's some absolute catastrophe with our squad. Then I can't see Aarons getting any time at all in the remaining 6 games. He'll go back to was it Bournemouth, Norwich? Was it Bournemouth?
It wasn't Norwich. I'd know if it was Norwich.
I think he was at Norwich originally, wasn't he?
Originally,
anyway,
yeah.
But he'll go back to wherever he came. Thank you for your service, but he's not of the sufficient and required quality in this run-in. It's Tav or Sterling. That's your 2 options. There are no other options for me.
Yeah, no, 100%. For all that Danny has done really good work in improving some of the players to the team, he's one who I think, despite the best efforts, he's not improved. But hey, maybe he goes away from the training camp in the summer in Spain and comes back a brand new player. You know, flies into something after Sterling picks up a career ender again because he plays on a plastic pitch. Who knows? It's all speculation right now. We're looking at the sky and trying to predict what weather comes. So, yeah. Listen, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, Amrit. Always, and it's lovely to hang out with everyone in the comments, chatting away as well. We apologise for going a bit earlier. That's on me. I've got a prior appointment on Friday, so can't be around to do my normal Friday night chaos. So you get Thursday night chaos instead. Everyone can also enjoy the cats using the facilities there. So I'm just going to put myself over here, so don't have to be exposed to that. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys. We truly appreciate the support that we get, the memberships that we get on YouTube, which if you want to sign up for, you can use the little QR code. Wait for it, right up there. Use that to join up, and you can become a member of the Patreon. We don't have a Patreon yet. But if you want to become a member of the YouTube channel, you can get some really exciting exclusive on there. We've got an interview with Andy Firth that's a really good watch. We also had an interview that Davey Hurd did with Tom Miller about his new book, which was fantastic, really excellent. And I think at least one of those is going to be going public tomorrow in lieu of the Friday show. But if you want to check that out, if you want to get all of our shows ad-free, if you want to get even more exclusives and things like that, then please do consider signing up for a membership. If not, please like and subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, because that helps us enormously. Genuinely, I think the fact that me and Stevie have said like and subscribe, we can see a bump on the YouTube stats, which is an insane thing to me. But hey, you don't ask, you don't get, right? So please, folks, we encourage you to support the channel any way that you can. We're never going to ask for your money. You're never going to get content that's never going to come out and be public. I think almost everything that's behind a paywall in some way on our channel will eventually come out as public. But you want to get a head start, you want to get in there early, you can become a member, you can see it first. So yeah, Amrit, as ever, mate, I really appreciate you coming on, joining me, especially on a Thursday. Thank you so much, my friend.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for having me. This is actually the first podcast I've ever done where it's just been two of us. It's always been threes or fours. So this has been really, really nice. I've enjoyed it, mate. Thank you. And just before we finish, best of luck to Stevie tomorrow. I think many of our viewers and members will know Stevie's with the Rangers Review at Edmiston House tomorrow night, and all the Rangers Review gang. Best of luck to Stevie. It's great that our fearless leader is representing four lads on the stage at Edmiston House. We wish him all the very, very best for a successful night, talking about our favourite subject, which is the famous, which we all love to do. So unfortunately, I can't go along and support him because I've got a prior engagement, but certainly I'll be there in spirit, and we wish him all the very best. So good luck, Stevie.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, huge. Best of luck to Stevie, whoever else is co-hosting with. But yeah, hope everyone enjoys that if you're going along to it. And obviously, we want you to be supporting the premier Rangers podcast, which is us. But if you feel like patronizing anyone else, then pop along and check that out as well, for sure. Folks, say it all the time, but we could not do this without you, so thank you so much. I also want to thank our lovely sponsors, Rhino Express, Clydeview Fire Protection, and no, wait, oh God, I've lost it. No, I interrupted my own flow and I forgot myself. Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, CSD Air Conditioning, lovely friends over at Candide, rydc.co.uk, the Rangers Youth Development Company. Hugely excited that we're partnered with them now, and our two very favorite partners, Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you so much to all of them. They help us put money into the club, and help us get our name out there as well. So we are grateful to them. As ever, we are grateful to our lovely audience. Please tune in tomorrow. Stay subscribed. Stay on the channel, and you'll get some exciting treats tomorrow. And then, all the reaction will come out after the game on Sunday, where hopefully we'll have another, for the third time in a row, beautiful Sunday. So yes, thanks again, folks. We've thoroughly enjoyed your company tonight. And until we talk to you again, folks, bye for now.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoy.